This is a certified hood classic.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sadia, aka K Sadia, and today's video is all about urban planning. So for those of you who don't know, I studied urban studies in undergrad and then pursued a master's in urban planning. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about my career journey, how I decided to pursue the discipline of urban planning, what exactly an urban planner does, do I regret going into this field, and tips for anyone who is considering pursuing an urban planning master's degree and pursuing a career in urban planning. So if you are interested in learning more about my career journey and how I found urban planning, then please keep watching. I wanted to start off by giving a definition of what urban planning is, because when I told my friends and family members that I wanted to go to school for urban planning, they were like, "What is that?" Urban planning is the technical and political process concerned with the development and design of land use and the built environment, infrastructure, housing, neighborhoods, and the distribution of resources. A career in urban planning would consist of a lot of writing, a lot of research, creating maps on software like GIS, and also facilitating community workshops. You can either work in the public sector or the private sector, and then there are also several specialties within the field of urban planning: environment, transportation, urban design, housing, community development, land use, and historic preservation. Most planners typically have knowledge of all of them, at least like general knowledge, and then may have like one or two areas that they focus on specifically. As the name would suggest, planners make plans, and in this process, urban planners consult with architects, civil engineers, the communities that are involved within this neighborhood or city plan, politicians. So they consult with people in other fields in order to develop a comprehensive plan that looks at the future of a specific neighborhood or a city. Urban planning is all about playing the long game, definitely not an instant gratification type of field. You may make a plan and then shelve it for years. It can change depending on who is in office, what political party, what their agenda is. One thing that's really important about urban planning is engaging with the public to make sure that the plans you are creating that will ideally create a better city or community or county are in the best interest of the residents of that specific city, community, county. It doesn't always happen this way, but ideally all plans would consult with the community that they're supposed to be planning for. I have always been interested in cities. When I was like 5 or 6, and would play like Sim City and The Sims and build houses. I was always just really interested in the built environment from a young age. And then once I got a little bit older, in my free time, I would just go to Wikipedia and type in the name of a random city that I'd never been to before, and I would read all like the demographic information, history of the neighborhood, like really kind of nerdy stuff. But I don't know, like I got really excited about stuff like that. And then as I got older, there were certain things about, because I'm from Philly, so there were certain things about my city that I noticed that I felt weren't ideal. And I would just wonder, like, why, you know, it seemed like certain neighborhoods were getting less resources than other neighborhoods, and I felt like it was super unfair. And it was just something that I would think about a lot, and I actually wrote my personal statement for both college and grad school around this issue of inequity within cities and how I was concerned by it from an early age, and knew that I wanted to have a career where I would deal with these issues. But at the time when I was in high school, even applying to college, I didn't know what urban planning was. No one had ever talked to me about it. No one I knew was an urban planner. So it was something that I kind of stumbled upon as I was applying to colleges. So I went to Columbia University, and when I was looking at majors, I still didn't really know what I really wanted to do, but I was looking at majors, and the two that stuck out to me most were urban studies and sociology. And urban studies was like the study of the urban environment. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I get to just talk about cities all day, which is something that I like to do in my free time anyway. So I was like, all right, bet, let me pick this major. And at that point, I still didn't really know what my career path would look like after that, but I figured that was a good first step, identifying a major that I felt like I would enjoy, that I would benefit from, that I would be able to go back to my community hopefully after graduation and contribute in a meaningful way. So I think that I desire to serve my community in a positive way was what really drew me to the discipline of urban planning, because I felt like it would be a way for me to make a positive difference and add value to the communities that I cared about. I realized that For the kind of career that I wanted to have, undergraduate degree wasn't going to be enough. So I decided to get a master's in urban planning so I could learn more of the technical skills that would be good in a career in urban planning. In order to have a career in urban planning, there are certain hard and soft skills that are recommended and or required. Technical writing skills is a big one. As an urban planner, you're going to be writing a lot of plans, you're going to be talking to a lot of different people, you're going to be talking to residents, community members, community agencies, nonprofits, you're going to be talking to city council a lot. So you have to know how to communicate effectively with a lot of different people, and also how to communicate effectively in writing. And technical writing skills are super important. Critical thinking, obviously, you're going to have to know how to engage with a lot of different issues that come up in cities, a lot of really difficult issues that may not have one clear-cut solution. So you have to know how to think creatively, think critically, think outside of the box in a lot of different ways. Also, another skill that is recommended is GIS software competency. A lot of planners, they're making maps, and they use GIS as a software in order to make these maps, in order to make the plans that they make. It's collaboration skills, because a lot of plans are made collaboratively with planners from different departments who may have different specialties. Then knowledge of economic development practices is important, knowledge of zoning is important. So I graduated in 2016 from undergrad with a degree in urban studies. I knew that I wanted to go to grad school. Some of you may have seen my video about moving to London and the grad school process. If not, I'll put it on the screen somewhere. I took a year between college and grad school, and I went to London to get my master's in regional and urban planning studies from the London School of Economics. So that program was only a 12-month program. It was basically just like an overview of the different aspects of planning. I also got a chance to do a consulting project in partnership with Old Kent Road, which is an area in London. At the time, they were creating a plan to add more affordable housing to the community. I worked alongside a group of other LSE students to evaluate the existing plan for Old Kent Road and then add our recommendations. And we did a presentation. This was our final presentation, and we got to present it to some officials from the Old Kent Road. I forget what was the borough? Is it Southwark Borough? It was a really cool project and gave me a view of what urban planning is like as a career. Up until that point, I hadn't had any internships or anything in the field of urban planning. So all that I knew about planning was basically from undergrad, from whatever I read outside of school, and then from my grad school experiences. So that final project gave me the opportunity to see okay, this is what my career could potentially look like if I decide to do this full time. Would I do it again with that specific program? I don't know, to be honest. LSE, of course, is a great school. I learned a lot, and I took a lot of really great classes, and a lot of my classes were really small, so I got to really engage with the material. But the program itself, I don't feel like I walked away with the technical skills that are necessary to go right into a career in urban planning. So the whole year, I didn't do anything with GIS at all. And like I said, GIS is the main software that's used to create these maps and create these plans. So I didn't really walk away with the technical knowledge. And then also because ultimately I will be working in America after graduating, I didn't really come away with a network of professionals that could have maybe assisted me with the job application process. So after I graduated, so the year ended, I had about 3 months to take my exams, and then write a dissertation. My dissertation was an absolute flop. I could do a whole nother video about the dissertation process, but just know, ciao, it was actually terrible. But that happened, and then I graduated, and the job prospects were not looking so great. It took me a long time to find a job, and then the job I got after I graduated from grad school had absolutely nothing to do with urban planning at all. It actually was in higher education. If you are considering pursuing a career in urban planning, make sure you do a lot of research on different types of grad school planning programs. Make sure that you'll walk away with the skills that you need in order to go into a career as an urban planner, if that's ultimately what you want to do. So, because grad school is an investment. I made the choice to go to LSE because I had a full scholarship. So I don't really regret the decision because it was a free education. Of course, I'm grateful for that. But I was also looking at Penn, and Penn has a really great planning school. I think if I had decided to go to UPenn, I would have walked away with more of the technical skills and the ability to just walk right into a career in planning and, you know, mix it up and just start, you know, moving and shaking and doing what I wanted to do. I am grateful though that I did go to LSE, because through my experience at LSE and through doing that final project, the consulting project, I realized that traditional planning was not the route that I actually wanted to take with my career. And it's kind of unfortunate that it took me all these years of school to realize that the subject that I'm going to school for is not ultimately where I see myself long term. I realized that planning in theory is not the same in practice. I've wanted to be an advocate for the people who are not being heard in the planning process, and I felt like I wasn't really doing that. I was just contributing to the other side, and the other side was kind of ignoring what the existing residents had to say. So I'm like, nah. After that, I was like, you know what, I don't feel that this aligns with who I am as a person. It doesn't align with my ethics. My advice to anyone who's watching this and considering going into urban planning, do your research and just make sure that it's truly what you want to do. And I would also suggest having informational interviews with planners who are actively working in the field and have careers that you could see yourself in. You know, before you take that step to go to grad school, talk to them about their experiences, see if you can shadow them at work. Definitely try to do internships if you can. It was hard for me to find an internship in college because I felt like they already wanted you to have a certain level of experience, and it's like, I'm coming to you for this internship to learn and to get that experience, so I don't have it already, but I'm trying to get it, and you're saying I already need it. So it didn't work out for me. And make sure you'll be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish with this degree that you're going for. And that's not only for urban planning, that's for any degree you get. Like, make sure, do your research on the front end and make sure you're actually going to get out of it what you want to get out of it, if that makes sense. I came home, as I said, I started working in Atlanta in higher education. I realized after a few months that it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was checking Indeed a lot, and then one day I saw this job posting for a commercial corridor manager, and I had never heard of that before. I didn't know what that was, but I was reading the job, and it included a lot of the skills and competencies that I learned in college and in grad school, and it would allow me to work directly with a community that I cared about and help them to get resources and empower them to improve their own community in a way. And the job is based in Philly, so it was a chance for me to go back to my hometown and do what I felt was important work. As a commercial corridor manager, basically I work with small businesses on a specific commercial corridor. A lot of these are businesses that are family owned, may only have 1 or 2 employees, and basically I work with them to improve their business model, to gain access to resources from the city. And then I'm also working on this really cool streetscape plan, which is a plan to improve the physical quality of the street. Basically what I'm trying to do is work with the business owners to create a new vision of the commercial corridor. Basically my priority is to make these improvements for the existing community members, but of course with any positive change there is the threat of gentrification, and that's something that I think about a lot. And I think development of course is important, and I want to definitely improve the quality of life for the people who already live in this neighborhood, who work in this neighborhood, who have businesses in this neighborhood. But at the same time it can be misinterpreted as me being an advocate for gentrification, and I've already had people express those concerns to me. I feel like the work I'm doing now is just way more rewarding than a career as a typical urban planner, because it has that human component. So like a big part of my job is just going out and talking to the business owners on a daily or weekly basis, just checking in with them, learning their story, hearing what they have to say, hearing what their concerns are. It's really cool and I like it a lot. So now, yeah, I feel like even though things didn't work out the way that I thought they would when I initially decided that I wanted to pursue urban planning, right now I feel like I'm in a good place in terms of career and in terms of future plans. I definitely would love to ultimately work in international development, but I felt like this was a good place to start, you know, in my own community, see what I can do here, see how I can help people here, and then gradually move into some other things and some other projects in other places. So I just wanted to end with some tips for aspiring urban planning professionals. One thing I would say is definitely manage your expectations. If you're like me, if you're coming to planning from a good place with good intentions and just really genuinely wanting to help people, know that the process It's not going to happen overnight. There is no instant gratification with a job like urban planning. You can make a plan and then it sits on the shelves for years before it's actually enacted and you really see the benefit of the plan that you contributed to. If you're willing to have patience, it can pay off and be super rewarding. Listen to the people that you're intending to serve. Don't come in and feel like because you have this planning background and it's, you know, master's degree, bachelor's degree, that you know more than the people who have been living in the community that you're planning for. Include them in the process as much as you can. Speak to people kindly, like, you know, just normal human decency type of things. You know what I'm saying? Do good work. Do work with integrity. Don't try to harm people through this process, because a lot of the communities that are on the receiving ends of these plans have historically been oppressed through planning, and at least for me, I definitely want to change that narrative. Be informed, read up a lot, because the discipline is always changing. I think I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something about planning or about my journey. I could do another video about any aspect of this video that you would like me to expand on. If you have any questions, of course you can feel free to leave them in the comment box and I will try my best to answer. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, comment, subscribe. I will see you in my next video.
This is a certified hood classic.